Do have Peter Carter. He's the British Deputy High Commissioner to Nigeria. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Pleasure.
Interestingly, you're coming at a time where Nigeria, in the spirit and the mood of our independence, and I know you heard lots of questions about, of course, our relationship with Britain, independence. What's your thoughts, especially when you listen to the arguments going back and forth about Nigeria and Britain?
Well, first of all, it was an enormous pleasure to be here to witness and celebrate Nigeria's 53rd birthday yesterday. Independence is important for any country, and to celebrate it annually, to celebrate it as part of being Nigerian is really important, and it's worth celebrating because Nigeria has so much to celebrate. A stable and growing democracy, one of Africa's largest and growing economies, people who are full of creativity and talent, and who are exporting that talent. At any one time there are, so I'm told, well over 1 million Nigerians in the UK alone, taking their expertise, their creativity, developing themselves, helping to develop our economy, and crucially helping to develop Nigeria's economy. So there's a lot for Nigeria to celebrate.
Well, that brings us to UK-Nigeria relations. Well, what's the latest development now? Because, of course, both countries will be looking to increase their interest in trade.
Our trade and investment relations with Nigeria are really at the heart of our relationship. Clearly the politics of the relationship between the two governments is very important, and we stand by Nigeria in some of the difficulties that it's facing at the moment, particularly in the north. But trade and investment is vital to both our countries. It's how we grow, it's how we bring economic and social benefits to our own citizens, and it's how we develop as countries. We're putting an enormous amount of effort into encouraging British companies to look seriously at Nigeria, to look at trading here, to invest here, and to take advantage of all the opportunities that there are here. We all know that there are big companies, big British companies here already, like Guinness, GlaxoSmithKline, Shell in the oil and gas sector. But those are just the big names. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of other companies doing good business here, and that's something that we want to encourage. And indeed, our leaders, my Prime Minister David Cameron and your President, committed themselves in 2011 to doubling bilateral trade by 2014, from £4 billion to £8 billion annually, and we're well on the way to achieving that. So again, this is something to celebrate.
You know, when we talk about partnerships, sometimes it looks vague to a whole lot of people, so perhaps we should be talking about specifics. As for that businessman who is not into big-time business, what other specifics would you want to bring out so that the average Nigerian can actually know that he too can actually do business with your own people, vice versa?
Yeah. Clearly, one of the government's one of the planks of the Nigerian government's economic policy is local content, and ensuring that Nigerians can take full advantage of the opportunities here that exist here to grow the economy through manufacturing, through services, and through wider investment. A lot of British companies who are operating here are not, as I say, the big names. They are small and medium-sized companies, SMEs, who specialize within a sector. Let's say power, for example. So they may not build complete power stations. They may not have bought into the privatization of the electricity generating and distribution industry in Nigeria. But they're providing expertise through consultancy, they're providing advanced technology, perhaps through software, perhaps through advanced engineering. Rolls-Royce, for example, is here because it services the generating equipment which it has supplied in the past. It exists here as a Nigerian company. So there are many, many opportunities for Nigerian business people running successful businesses in Nigeria to take advantage of our expertise, our knowledge and our know-how to advance their industries and advance their sectors.
Well, I think we cannot talk about, trade and investment without talking about your visa policy, which has been somewhat controversial in recent times. Can you clear the air for the person who's listening now, who's worried about how to get a visa to come to the UK, for instance?
Well, let me start by saying that there is no change to our visa service. There is no change to our visa policy at the moment. We've all heard about this so-called visa bond that I have certainly had to answer many, many questions about in the last 2 months or so. It does not exist. It is a policy proposal which ministers in Britain are still considering. So at the moment there is no visa bond, there is no requirement on anybody to pay £3,000 or any other thousands of pounds to get a British visa. You go through all the normal procedures that so many Nigerians are familiar with. The government is certainly looking at ways to deter those who are tempted to overstay their visa, not just in Nigeria. This is a problem we have with many countries, and it's the responsible thing to do to look at how we encourage those we want to come to the United Kingdom and make sure that those who are less inclined to obey the rules to think twice before coming to the UK. But we would be really, really stupid, frankly, if we said, oh no, you can only come if you pay £3,000. That will never, never happen.
No, you've said that's at the moment. I mean, it's something that's still being debated, right?
It is being debated along. It is one of a series of initiatives, of ideas that the government is considering. But no decisions have been made. No changes have been made to our visa system. When they are, we will be informing the Nigerian government, if it concerns Nigerians, and make sure that it's properly advertised. But even if visa bonds were introduced, they would affect a tiny, tiny, tiny proportion of those who apply for visas. We receive 180,000 visa applications a year, and we grant 125,000 visas a year. We may be talking, if the policy were introduced, we may be talking 100 or 200 people who are on the edge of being refused.